Hey everyone, this is Richard Edwards from GameGuideSite.com. Now the tutorial we will be doing today is how to create a website using Photoshop CS3, and this will also apply to CS4 and CS5. Now this is a website that we are going to be creating. Alright, so the welcome bar, header, logo, navigation, content header, sub-content header, your sub-content and your content, and at the bottom we have another navigation bar. We have reference to GameGuideSite.com, reference to me, and another reference to GameGuideSite.com. Alright, so we just need to go into File and Close, and the workspace I am using is Web Design. Now there are some panels or windows in here that I do not use, so I will start off by closing Navigator, Color and Swatches, and I'll close Paths too. So all I have is Layers, Styles and Information. Now drag the styles and I will join them with the information, so I have two tabs at the top. Alright, now this just gives me more room to work with. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is go File, New. And the name will be whatever you like. Now for this tutorial I'll just name it Tutorial. The preset is Custom. The width is 1000 pixels, the height is 1000 pixels, 72 resolution pixels per inch, RGB color, and background contents are white. Okay, now we have one layer. Just double click on this and name it background. So now it's unlocked. We can move it about and we can edit it. Now I have a ruler at the top here which states my canvas is 1000 pixels in width and 1000 pixels in height. Now yours may show this. Now to change this, just right click on the ruler and change it to pixels. Now if you don't actually have the ruler on your screen, you can go into View and Enable Rulers, and also while you're at it, enable Snap and everything in the Snap to drop down menu, and Guides, Grid, Layers, Slices and Document Bounds. Okay, now just press V for the Move tool. Now the information panel we need this for the guides. I just press Z for the magnify tool, click actual pixels. Now this will show me what the final product will actually look like in its correct dimensions. Okay, so we'll pull some rulers out here. Just click on the ruler and pull out the guideline. Now on the x-axis on the right side of the screen here, you can see on the X will list the vertical dimensions of my guidelines, and the Y will list the horizontal. Okay, so the first vertical guideline I will use will be on 50 x-axis. The second vertical guideline will be on 950 x-axis. The first horizontal guideline I will be using will be on 30 on the y-axis. Now this does not have to be perfect, 1 or 2 pixels won't make a difference. The second horizontal will be on the 40 y-axis mark, and the third will be on 50. Okay, now we just need to insert some vertical guidelines on the edge of the canvas. Now they should automatically snap to the edge of the canvas. So I have one on the left, now I'll place one on the right. I will place one on the top, and I will place one on the bottom also. Okay. Now we need to insert some layers. Now to keep your layers organized so you know which layer is which, you can rename them, and you can also put them into groups. So at the bottom here we have some tools. Now we will insert 3 new groups. Group 1 will be pictures, group 2 will be boxes, and group 3 will be text. Now in the boxes folder, we will select the rectangle tool, and we will create our first box. Now we will stretch this from 50 to 950 and bring it down to 30. Okay. Now we will insert some more guidelines here. We will insert a vertical guideline to 60. We will insert another vertical guideline to 760. Another one to 770. 780. 790. Then 940. And now we will insert some horizontal guidelines. This one will go to 160. This one will go to 170. 180. 220. 230 and 260. Okay. Now if you look at that, maybe on your screen or my screen, you can begin to see the rough layout of what the original looks like. Okay, now the only thing that it doesn't have is some boxes and color and text. So we will do that now. Again, in the boxes folder, we will create another rectangle tool, and this time it will go from the 40 on the y-axis and 50 on the x-axis to 770 on the x-axis and 170 on the y-axis, and another one on 780 and 42. It's 950 by 170. So now I have 3 boxes, and I will just change their color. So press Ctrl H to hide the guidelines, double click, highlight all 3 layers, right click and rasterize. Now on the big box, which should be shape 2, double click. Now we will turn some of these on, such as bevel and emboss. change the depth to 1000%, the size to 0, the highlight mode opacity to 100%, and the shadow mode opacity to 0. Now the gradient overlay, change the scale from 100% to 150. Click on the gradient. Now we'll change the color black to, we'll manually insert this, it will be 222222, so it will give the dark grey. Now on the white we'll change this to 616161. Okay, now we will insert the stroke, and having the stroke will bring out the depth of our bevel and emboss. Now we'll change the color from red to black, and the size will be 1. Okay, so you can begin to see this. Now we need this on all of the other layers that we're going to create. So instead of pasting the layer style onto the rest, we will just create the next boxes. So the next one will be from 50 on the x-axis to 180 to 950 by 220. Now this will be the navigation bar. Now we will insert the content header and the sub-content header. Press Ctrl H to hide the guidelines. So now it's starting to look like a website. So again, rasterize these layers, and now on the layer that we edited, we can right click and copy layer style, select all of the layers, right click and select paste layer style, and just close these. Okay, so now it's starting to look like it's original. Okay, now the background, double click on the background layer, select color overlay, change the color from red to black, change the opacity to 90%, and we will insert a pattern overlay which will be below the color overlay. Now I have some presets here, just dotted lines, carbon fiber, and different types of material. Now for this I will use a line. You can increase or decrease the scale. I'll keep it at 100. Okay. Now if you press Ctrl H again, go back to your boxes folder, shape 2, we will press M for the marquee tool, rectangular marquee tool. Now on the inside we will delete the area from 60 by 50 to 760 by 160. Press delete and it will delete an area out of that box, so we can insert our header. Now we will do the same thing with the logo. Okay. Now we will insert the navigation. Now depending on how many navigation buttons you have, on the original I have 5. So what you do is you do 900 divided by the amount of buttons you plan on having. So 900 divided by 5 is 180. 900 divided by 5 equals 180. So 50 plus 180 equals 230. So I'll turn my guidelines back on. I will zoom in and I will place a guide at 230, sorry, which is here. Press equals and I will insert another at 410. Equals and another at 590. Now the next one will be at 770. Now there is already a guideline there, so we won't need to insert one, and the next is 950, so we don't need to insert one there either. Now on the navigation bar, we'll just find which one this is. Now before we do anything else, we'll just rename our layers so we don't get confused. Now this is the welcome bar, this is the header, navigation, content, content, and logo. So in the navigation bar, we'll zoom in, select the single column marquee tool, place it on the guideline and press delete, and it will give us a black line which will space our navigation buttons out. Now we'll do this on each guideline. 770, and that is the last one. So just select the rectangular marquee tool and click on the screen to remove the marquee, and now you can see I have 5 buttons. Now I don't have text yet, so I will insert the text now. So press Ctrl H. And this will turn the guidelines back on. Now we'll go into the text folder and we will press T for text. Now we'll just zoom in here on the corner, surround the whole button, select center and type in your first navigation button, which is most likely to be home. Now I'm going to use Arial here, 16 size, light, and I'll do this for the rest. Three more to go. Examples. Help, maybe. Or FAQ. Now these don't have to be what I'm using, this is just an example. Okay. Zoom back out to the actual pixels, take away the guidelines. Now select all the text and I will move them down all together to the center. Okay, so now we have our navigation bar. Now we will insert the content header, home, bring this size down a bit to 14, and one for the subheader, which is most likely to be news. Again, bring these down together. Okay. Now we'll insert some at the top for the welcome bar. And the help and about. Just bring the welcome up a bit. Okay. Just position it where you'd like it. So now it's starting to look like a nice, clean, smart looking website. Okay, so we'll just close the text group and we'll go into pictures. Now we will create another rectangle tool, and this will be behind our box. So as you can see, I have a black box and that is behind our header box. Now I'll just change the color of this, so I'll right click and rasterize the layer, and I will double click and I will change the options. I will change the depth to 900%. In fact, I'll just use a preset. It'll make this easier. Now you have some default presets, and I have some of my own here that I've made before. I will use a nice orange. Okay. And I will insert a box for the logo. And I will use the same preset. Okay. Now having the orange on the actual website just makes it more vibrant. Okay, just right click and rasterize. Now we can start to insert our website name. Increase the size. Insert a preset. Just bring the size down a bit. Apply the preset. Bring the size down. Now for the logo, you can easily make a logo. If you don't have one, really, just use the eraser tool. Go into your boxes. No, sorry, not your boxes, your pictures folder. On shape 2. Right click. Now I have some preset brushes here, and I will use one of these. Now they are quite big, so I'll just bring them down in size. And just delete. so I can just use that as my logo. Okay, now the content in my original, I have content, but in Photoshop you won't be inserting the content necessarily. You will be doing that in Dreamweaver, which will be part 2 of this tutorial, or part 3 maybe. Okay, also the sub navigation bar at the bottom and the copyright, that will also be in Dreamweaver. So here you go, here's the website. You can use whatever font you like. In here I have used Arial. Okay, alright, thanks guys for watching how to make a website using Photoshop CS3.